Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Sunday, October 27th, and we are delighted to be with you yet again today. And we are delighted to always talk to you about how to make better financial decisions, or maybe even contemplate different pathways forward than you had even conceived of. If you would like a little bit of help, just give us a holler. Go to jillonmoney.com. Click that Contact Us button. And of course, check the box if you'd like to come on the air live with us. Now, in just a couple weeks, we are going to be holding our next webinar. And this webinar is going to be a goodie because we are going to talk about how to save or make money before the end of the year. This is part of Jill on Money Life, our subscription service. For $35, you will have access to this live webinar, the back catalog, bonus content for the next 12 months. This webinar, Thursday, November 14th at 7 Eastern Time, is going to focus on year-end planning and specifically how you're going to use your winners and your losers to your advantage. Tax loss harvesting. Maybe it's some year-end planning in terms of your charitable giving. Whatever is going on at that year-end often gets lost and delayed as the holiday season creeps up on you. Okay, so right now, let's go talk to Jeff, who's on the line from New Jersey. So, Jeff, hello. Welcome to the program, and what can we do for you?
Hey, Jill, how you doing? Thanks for having me on the show.
Sure.
Well, I have I'm going to be retiring, and I have a scenario where I can take my pension as an annuity or take it as a lump sum. And I've been flip-flopping on this for, a couple of years now. Trying to decide which is best.
This is a big decision. I first of all, of course, you're so lucky to have a pension, but I want to hear the details. But I just wanted to say that for everyone listening, these big pension decisions are. You'll hear us talk to Jeff and guide him through it, but this is very much dependent on your situation. This is not a cookie cutter piece of advice. So don't listen to this and say, "Oh, I'll do the same thing as Jeff." You got to tell us what's going on in your life. So, Jeff, let's talk a little bit about kind of the numbers. First of all, how old are you?
63.
Are you married, single, divorced, widow?
Married.
Okay. How old is your spouse?
60.
Okay. And so right now, what are you earning income-wise?
Combined around probably 210 or so.
Okay. Do you guys have kids, grown kids?
Grown kids on their own, working.
On the income of 210, what's the split between the two of you? Because it's you who's retiring, your wife is not, or will she retire when you retire?
She will likely work through around this time next year. So maybe one more year from today.
Okay. And so how much does she earn?
50, maybe 54-ish.
Okay. So that's kind of good because you'll be able to stay on her benefits. Will you get health insurance when you retire?
So I'll stay on hers for the rest of the time that she works, but then I do have retiree health. It's not that cheap, though. I'll be looking forward to getting Medicare.
I know. It's so funny. We were just talking about this because someone said, well, just go on Cobra. And I'm like, well, that's not actually so cheap. And sometimes the health insurance options, even when you're part of a really good program, are still, it's expensive. So I get it. But you have health insurance. So the most important thing is that you have coverage you can slide in and out of. Okay. So, Jeff, on your $210,000 of combined income, what do you estimate your need is for your living expenses?
I'm an engineer, and so by virtue of being an engineer, I've analyzed the crap out of this. So
I love it, spreadsheet king, talking my language, baby.
Yeah, I have some very detailed sheets that I built, and I just basically came to the conclusion that I just would like to be able to cover what we spend today.
Yeah,
which this is after tax dollars is around, I would just say around 100 to 110,000.
Great. So 9 or 10 grand a month will do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's talk about your savings. So how much money have you salted away?
Roughly about 2.4 million.
Is that mostly retirement assets?
It's about half and half.
And of the retirement assets, the 1.2 of retirement, is there any Roth or is it mostly pre-tax?
It's all pre-tax, no Roth.
Okay. How about Social Security benefit tell me about your full retirement age, what it looks like.
It's about 3,400 a month, roughly.
And that's for you and your wife. Will she be able to claim on her own record, or will it be better for her to claim half of yours?
Looks like it's going to be better for her to claim on her own.
So next, how about just safe money in the bank? Because if you've got 1.2 million in retirement, 1.2 million in non-qualified or brokerage, does that also include some cash, or do you have a cash account that's separate?
No, my cash is included in that. I'm probably have about 120 or so in cash.
Okay, great. Okay, let's talk about your house. Tell us about what it's worth.
I figure it's that it's worth between 500,000 and 600,000.
Do you still have a mortgage outstanding or not?
No, we've been mortgage free for a while.
Any second home?
Not yet.
Well, I like that. Thank you for that. I see that's a preview of what's to come. What else do I need to know? Okay, are you going to stay in this house when you retire?
I don't think so. Real quick, our intention is to probably sell this and we're probably going to get a place in Florida, but I don't think that would be our full-time residence. We'll stay there long enough to be able to claim it as our full-time residence, I guess.
Yes, we'll be there for 6.5 months if anyone from the government is listening.
All likelihood we'll have something up here too, because I think my wife wants to be close to any grandkids should we have some soon.
Okay, I understand. So if you were to move to Florida, let's just presume that whatever you have in the house, you'll figure out how to divvy it up between Florida and in the Northeast, and you won't be spending anything beyond that amount. Is that fair to say?
Maybe a little bit more, but I don't know. Depends on what I find in Florida.
Or maybe you just rent when you come up here.
We are thinking about that, actually.
Just because it might be easier. All right, now let's get to the pension. The pension annuity. Is it a joint and survivor? Is it just your life only? What are the variables here?
So in all the modeling I've done, I built in 100% survivorship option.
Okay.
So it comes out to about $3,500 a month.
That's a nice number. And the lump sum is what?
So the last calculation I got was $780,000.
And what's your wife's pension look like? Just so even though it's small.
Yeah, hers is just a straight annuity of about $1,100 a month.
Okay, still not bad. I just want to be clear that we've had this question before, and often I'll be like, just take the annuity. But friend of the pod, Michael Goodman, reminded me that sometimes when you do that, there's a real risk. And the risk could be that, that if you were to drop dead, she gets a certain time where she would receive the same amount. But does she have, in other words, is the annuity promise based on your life only, or is it both of your lives?
Both.
So she would get, no matter what, whether you drop dead tomorrow or not, $3,500 a month, right?
Yes.
And they take all the risk, remember. Does it have a cost of living increase attached or not?
It does not. There are a couple of other, I can do, there's some survivorship options like 0, 25, 50, 75, 100.
No, I think she needs it though. I like the 3,500 for her. You know what I mean? Like, because if you were to die and, she is younger than you and women have longer life expectancies, then she's taken care of essentially. She gets your 3,500, her 1,100, she's now at 4,600. She gets to collect on your record until she moves to her own record. So all of this, it kind of works okay for her. She's good, right? The upside, obviously, of the annuity is it's not your risk. You have 42 grand coming in every year for your life and your wife's life, and there's nothing for you to actually worry about. And you still also have $2.4 million on which you can draw, and, you'd be okay, right? And your benefit would start immediately at your retirement, right?
Yes.
You don't have to wait. Okay. So that even makes sense because if she's going to work another year or two, you also have that money coming in. You don't have to spend any of your precious cash, right?
Yeah, but I will, because we have some things we want to do. So.
Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. What are you leaning there, Jeff? What are you thinking? What does your spreadsheet tell you?
Well, so it's very close, but there's another factor.
Here we go.
my wife doesn't really like to manage the money, or she's not really prone to doing investments, and she kind of lets me do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I honestly am worried that if something happens to me, I'm not sure how she would handle all that.
Hmm.
So I started thinking about if I just take the annuity, and then with her pension and the two, well, at least one social at that point if I'm not here, but she'll have more than enough money to pay the bills. And then, she can get my son to help her out with the rest of the investments and won't have to worry about it.
You know what? I think given that, I'm going to lean annuity as well. So the thing that's really interesting about it is, as we consider this game that, like, we gamify everything, right? It's like, but then you're bringing in the real life thing, which is like, guess what? My wife doesn't want to deal with this. I think because of that it is important for us to at least acknowledge that, hey, you know what? In that kind of a situation, we want to make it easy for her. We don't want to have anything here that's going to make her life more complicated. And also, gosh, in some respects, I will also say that, like at a time where she will probably be very sad, then on top of that, trying to say, oh, and you got to deal with the money manager. Did I introduce you to the money manager? Here's the money. That's tough for me. That's a real tough one for me. So I think I'm going to agree with you on the annuity. I think what this means, though, is that as you look ahead, the money that is being managed, and are you managing it yourself, or do you actually have a financial advisor helping you?
No, I'm doing it myself.
So I do think that as you look at your portfolio, you really need to be very sensitive to a couple of things, because you're the money manager, right? So now what we need to know is that in that brokerage account, you have 120 grand in cash. You might want to have a little more cash in there. So in that account, tell me a little bit about the money that is invested. Is it mutual funds, exchange traded funds, stocks, individual bonds, bond funds? What do you got?
Well, so it's mostly like a total bond fund at this point. I had, when I hit a point where I had what I thought was more than enough money to last me through retirement, I kind of de-risked and got away from the market after many years of being almost 100% stocks.
Okay.
And so I accumulated a fair amount of money, and then I was like, you know what? Until I retire and see how things go, I just want to kind of lock this in and not worry about it.
I mean, look, I don't think you have a huge problem, but I would keep a little more cash on hand. So if you have bond funds, or if you're reallocating ahead of this, what I would say is there any asset in here I don't really like? Is there do I have a capital gain from last year? Or do I have a loss this year? Do I want to start? But I would like you to have 2 years of cash on hand, not 1 year, 2 years. So you're going to have you'll work with me here, but like, you're going to get paid eventually, not immediately, you're going to have 10 grand a month pre-tax coming in between Social Security and pensions, right? But we need to get you from, today until you are full retirement age. And then from full retirement age on, and obviously at full retirement age, you're golden, and this is like 4 years, right? So it's not that big a deal, but it means that you have to be very careful with that brokerage account money. You really have to make sure that, you're replenishing your cash on a periodic basis so that that you're not imagine if, like, oh God, I have to pay bills and now I'm forced to sell a fund that's down. Now, I don't think you're going to be in that situation, but I want you to be a little bit more critical about the assets you own. Also, I think because we're choosing the annuity, I actually would encourage you to maybe rotate some money into stocks and not make it a total bond fund. And you don't have to do it in the brokerage account, but if you're going to rejigger it, it wouldn't be a bad time to do it. Take some money out of the bond, like 20% in stocks would be good. It really, 20 or 30%, you could manage that. That's one of the good ways that you can actually beat inflation. That's your COLA over the long term.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually planning to do that, to go to like a 30-70 kind of.
Oh, perfect. That's perfect. That's great. Do you have your estate documents all done?
Yeah, we do.
Great. Okay, good. If you'd like to come on the air with us, all you need to do is go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us that note, and check the box. Mark does everything else because he's so good. You can subscribe to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Go ahead and do something nice for someone else today. It's going to make that person feel good, and I promise you, it will make you feel good. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.